Oh, hi. It's April 11th, and let's just do this. This isn't. I'm trying to think about this, and there's no way to do it. I think this is just going to be one of my many bad reviews, but of something really good. The Indifferent Stars Above by Daniel James Brown, author of Under a Flaming Sky. So, on Instagram, people post all kinds of crap, and this guy posted like, I don't know, 5 books that disturbed him, and this is one of them. So I wrote it down, or I saved the post, and I was telling my friend Gary about it. Hey Gary. And he bought it and he read it and he sent it to me and I read it. I started it last Friday, and I finished it Tuesday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It took me 5 days, and I think I'm back into like the habit of reading, because when I got it in the mail from Gary, I was like, I'll read it someday, and then I was just, after a while I was like, it just doesn't seem like it's going to be interesting. The text is small. It just seems dense and like just full of facts. And let's see. It begins with author's note, and then it has a prologue. I was okay, let's get to the beginning, and I started it, and I don't know, it was great. This is one of the better books I've read in a while. Definitely besides Richard Lehman's The Woods Are Dark, which I started to reread, which I didn't finish. I can't. This is better. I mean, it's nonfiction, so I don't know how you feel about comparing fiction to nonfiction. Razorblade Tears is really good, but just overall, this is a better read. And it's The Indifferent Stars Above, the harrowing saga of a Donner Party bride. So it's about Sarah. Well, it tries to focus on this girl, Sarah Graves, who was part of a family that, went over the Sierra Nevada. They tried to reach the Sierra Nevada mountains, but I'll just tell you, like, there was this guy wrote like a pamphlet about instructions for crossing, this area, and it said like you'd have to start. Actually, I think it was April 1st. Because if you don't start by April 1st, have everything you need, all the food and livestock and your just everything, which is so much. If you're not ready if you don't leave by April 1st, don't even leave, because you're going to get stuck in the winter and you'll die. And for whatever reason, they started like 2 or 3 weeks after. I don't know what. I mean, that's such a huge mistake. The second big mistake that I remember is that this one guy, he was saying, just go this way, this is a shortcut. And they believed him. Like, overall, Donner Party was like 80 people. About. And, there was one big group, and one group, when they split up, we're going to go the normal route, even though it's longer. It's a tried and tested path, everybody goes this way. And these poor families just believed this guy, and then they got to like this way station, and they asked him, do you know about this other like shortcut? And they're all, yeah, it's fine. And they only said that because they were out of the way and nobody was going that way. So like, if more people take the shortcut, then that'll drum up business for this little fort. And they got stuck in the snow, and a lot of them died, and a lot of them had to eat each other. And you've always heard about the Donner Party. They got stuck in the snow and ate each other. But I didn't know the details. I didn't know that when they got stuck in the snow. Oh my God, I'm dying. When they got stuck in the snow, they built cabins and lean-tos and tents and little dwellings to survive in. They slaughtered all their oxen and cattle. And then like a group, I think his name was Franklin Graves, Sarah's father. He's a good guy. Like, I don't know why the guy picked Sarah, but Franklin was my favorite because he was strong. He knew, this dude could survive. Well, he didn't survive because he had every conceivable odds stacked against him. Like when they're stuck in the snow, he's all, me and my 4 sons are gonna build a cabin, and he did. He built a cabin big enough for 20 people. He just couldn't hunt because there was like 15, 18, 20 feet of snow. All the animals are hibernating. So this guy, and he led a group out, like I think 14 people, somewhere in the teens, and just conditions were so bad that he dies, and he tells his daughters because he took 2 of his daughters with him. They're like the strongest, and he said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna die, but eat me to survive." And so, man, can you imagine eating one of your parents or your children? It's just so crazy to say, and they had to do it in here. They eat their dogs. Like, you can eat a cow or oxen. I really felt bad for the oxen too, but just different. Thankfully, they don't dwell on the dogs. They say one family, like, they even like have a diary quote from it. They're all, "We ate little Cash. He was delicious." No, they didn't say he was delicious, but they had to eat their little. Like I couldn't eat Frankie. I would never eat Frankie, or I hope I wouldn't. That's what I say. But when you're, it's just unbelievable to think that you get to the point where you're gonna eat somebody, you're gonna kill them and eat them. That's just insane. They talk about other like events of cannibalism in the world, and they say there's many people who'd rather starve than eat someone, but there's a lot of people that have eaten people. It was like a French guy, like during the World War II. I think that's probably wrong, but he ate. Afterwards, they found him. He had like the remains of 12 kids in his house, and he ate his son. It was like his 5-year-old son, and I was, oh my God. Yeah, there's a lot of. It almost gets to like layman levels of disgust and sickness, and it's all real. Like, yeah, it's all over the place now. But like when they send a rescue party, like, back then it just takes weeks and months to assemble anything. So like, they got to prepare, and they're going in the worst times. And there was like 3 or 4 rescue parties, and one of them, they were coming, and people were just too weak. So they built a fire, but the fire started sinking into the snow to where like they were 15 feet below the top of the snow. They were just too weak to get out, and then they would start eating each other. They would eat the dead, and when the rescue party finds them, there's like bone and blood and remains all around the top. And I was like, oh, that'd be. Oh, you see that, and then you look down and you see like little kids and ladies eating human flesh. And it also said like when they were starving and they just get so emaciated and destroyed by the elements and the mental pressure, everything. Like they look, they don't say ghouls, but when they see them, like either the men that would find the starving cannibals, they would just start crying when they saw them because they were so horrible looking. Not that they were scared of them, but I think they just felt so bad for them and just the horrible things that happened to them. And I could kind of see it. I imagine them black-eyed and like sunk in and just hair and like real pale, human. But the one lady described them, and they went crazy too. One of them described like they just looked like an unnatural, like their eyes were like like you could see like stars floating in their eyes, something like that. There was one little boy who was like 12. They saw a mouse and he caught it and he ate it, just ate it raw, live. It was ugh. And then he went crazy too, and he grabbed like his sister's arm and he's all, "Give me bones," and started like gnawing on her. Like this, they were able to control him, and then he died. He just died. It seems to be like hypothermia is what killed most of them more than starvation. There were 2 like Native Americans. I found out like so many other tribes I've never heard of, which is cool. They had 2 guides helping them. They were lost too, and when they were on the trail, when they agreed to eat the dead, the 2 Native Americans refused. And then later they slipped away. They ran away because they thought like, oh, man, we're gonna get eaten next. And they ran away, and I was like, okay, cool. At least those 2 natives got away. But then later the party finds them because that they're weak too, but they were like gathering like what the Native Americans, they know where food is, but it's still scarce. But the people that were trying to get to help, there was like, I don't know, maybe say 7 of them left. They found the Indians and they shot them and they ate them. They describe a part where they saw a deer and they shot the deer and it was like wounded, and like one of the men and women, they trailed it and they caught it and they slit its throat and they drank the blood. They just let the blood hit him in the face. And I was like, that's like vampiric, and that's real. Like just when, and layman actually does, like when you're that desperate and destitute and destroyed and you're just at your lowest level, you'll do almost anything, or at least some people will. So, and this is all real, and it just gets worse. Like even when they're rescued, like when they go to where they have the cabins and the rescue party comes, it describes like heads sawed open with the brains taken out, and they like a little boy died and they just hung him. It wasn't like a meat hook, but just by his clothes, they just hung him on the wall to eat later. And in the end, when because they kept taking people out because people couldn't walk, and when they went back the last time, there was one guy left, Keysburg, I want to say his name was. I'm not sure. I think that was his name. And he was just eating. He just ate like the last other lady that was alive. And, yeah. But there's so much other info in this. Like, it does go off a little. Like, he starts talking about like feminine hygiene back then, or just a lot of stuff. I was like, okay, you could have cut this out, but it's only 288 pages. I didn't like the end. He just starts writing about himself and like how he's connected to the spirit of Sarah Graves. I was I didn't care anymore. Like, story's over. I don't want to hear about Daniel James Brown, but he wrote a really good book. I guess it's almost like really exploitative, because just the not even getting to just hearing about like they ate their family members, and in the moments they did it. Ugh. And one family had like 5 dogs, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to read about how they killed each dog, but they just say they ate them. They don't dwell on that, or he doesn't. I guess he's like, we can't talk about killing your best little fur friend and then eating them. Yeah, I know. This is a really hard one to think about reviewing. I almost didn't review it. But yeah, it got to the point where I just wanted to read it, and that's a sign of a great book. And I'm really glad I read it. Thanks, Gary. Thanks to that guy who posted this on his Instagram. Found a great book. And it almost makes me want to read about other like frontier life and settlers. There's so much stuff I could say, like just little tidbits of stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the Donner Party. There is one other gross thing that really happened that had nothing to do with the Donner Party. They like caught 2 rebels, like when the Mexicans were, when like California was trying to become independent. They caught 2 like rebel fighters, and they tied him to a tree, and they hit him with something. They broke his jaw like so bad that they just ripped it off. Oh. Like after they broke it, they like tied, I think they said a chain, and just yanked his jaw off. And I was like, oh my god. But yeah, I wasn't expecting like the disgusting like levels of depravity that. It's all real. I keep saying it. It's all real. But the Indifferent Stars Above, I'll give it a 4 out of 5. I don't know, just not good. It's not the greatest, but it's really good. Maybe 4.5. So yeah, the Indifferent Stars Above.